next up on our agenda is 4 key learnings during this sprint. So, as some of you may know, most of our club interns achieve a great milestone in their internship journey by directly working on the live projects during this sprint. So, within their experiences, our intern Russell will now present you how to install sales days and kick off a new project. Russell, can you please kick off your presentation?
Oh, sure. I'll share.
Yeah.
Can see my screen.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, all of team. Uh, to get start Self.js, firstly need to download Node.js from the official website. That's the that's the official website of Node.js, and need to install it. Next, open the command from and type npm install install sales. After install sales, now can create a new project. Uh, Firstly, I create a new file in on desktop name as Rusiru. Uh, and now I go to command line and go to desktop cd desktop, and cd Rusiru my file. Now can create a new sales project. Uh, Now I type sales new test. Test is my new project name. It's a web app, and installing dependencies. It take a few minutes. Cd test, uh, and now install uh, npm bootstrap npm I, and now we open this file. Can open Visual Studio. And you can not go sale list. This is the way to install Sales.js and kick off the new project. Uh, and thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Um, So, according to our agenda, the next presentation will be about how to create mobile menu with the cross button and full height menu. So, Sandru, can you please start your presentation?
Okay, sure, Kanchan. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to present how to create a mobile menu with cross-button in Navbar. So this is the video for the...
I'm going to focus on right now is this word button in this project. To make this really come alive, I'm going to change and add this class. So we're going to start with navbar toggler. I'm going to add a couple things. Mainly, I'm going to add flex to this project to make this really shine. Bootstrap comes with flex, so I'm going to say d flex. And then because it's mobile first, I want this to work up until the large size. Because we're using navbar expand large. So when it doesn't expand, I want flex to work. And when it does expand, I want flex to not work. So how we do this, we have to say d lg none to turn off flex when we go above and beyond the large size. And then I want to do two more things. I want to say flex column, because I want to create a column of information, because these three bars are right here. And I want to use justify content around, mainly because I suck at math. And how this works, this is a kind of a unique feature I found, but justify content will justify your content, but the justify content around will evenly disperse it based upon a predetermined distance that you set. And we're going to do that in our CSS. So it's a little different than evenly, because it does work, but I like the justify content around just a little bit better when I set my mobile menu design. You can find this, of course, getbootstrap.com/docs 5.0 utilities in the flex section. All right, let's move on to the next part, which is down here. We want to change this span class navbar toggler icon. I want now 3 bars, not just 1 bar. So I'm going to do is, I'm going to change this navbar toggler icon and say just toggler icon, and then give it a top bar. If we duplicate it, we're going to do toggler icon. We'll change this to middle bar. And the last one, toggler icon, will be the bottom bar, as we're going to have 3 bars. What's going to happen is the top bar will then change to the part of the X or the cross. The middle bar is going to disappear, and the right one will move up and angle down in the opposite direction, creating that cross/X shape. So now we have our HTML. Let's go into our CSS to make this really work. If we do a quick refresh on this, you can see that now that toggler icon has disappeared, and now we changed a little things here and there to move it a little bit differently. So this should look like a bill shape with nothing else inside of it. That's perfect. Inside of our custom CSS, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first work with that navbar toggler. So I'll say navbar toggler, and I have to give it a width and height. So, whoa, let's do open and close curly brackets. That could ruin the whole dang thing. Let's say width 20 pixels and a height of 20 pixels. Normally, I'm not a fan of heights, but since this is not going to move, this is one of those rare instances where I do recommend using a height. Let's drop in position, relative. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably know that I rarely use position relative unless I use position absolute afterwards, and that's coming down the pipe. After this, we're going to say transition. We want it to change in a nice smooth motion pattern. I'm going to say 0.5 seconds, and we'll say ease in, ease out to make it look really smooth and clean. After this, I want to take out all the existing content that we can inside this button. I'm going to say navbar toggler, comma, navbar, I'm going to catch navbar toggler focus, as I don't want the additional pieces to come into play. I'm then going to say navbar toggler active, comma, and one more at navbar toggler icon, and we'll say focus. I just want to get rid of any possibility of things getting in the way. So I'm going to say outline, none. I'm going to say, I'll bring it up just a little bit here. I'll say box shadow, none. And then I'll just say border 0. It just cleans out all additional content that may have been there, which then just makes it easily disappear from the screen. So a nice, clean, empty space in which to work from. All right, so after this, what we're going to do is we're going to take out 2 more things to get rid of a couple margins and adding that are in the way. We're going to say navbar toggler span, just to clear out a few last margins and padding, so down the road, they don't get in our way when we're working on our project. Again, nothing really changed because they're just minimal margins around the space. I'm completely clean and clear, no borders, no margins, and no paddings. Awesome. Let's create this toggler icon in terms of the X. We're almost going to work backwards and then work forwards to the bars second. What we're going to do is, right after the navbar toggler span, I'm going to say toggler icon. I'm going to bring in that new class name that I created for these 3, toggler icon, and toggler icon. After this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say display. I'm going to block it. The position is going to be not inherent. Here comes our favorite one, absolute. And the height is going to be the size of the bar. We're going to say 3px. I'm going to change this later on. What I'm then going to do is I'll say width 100% to fill the space. Where is that 100% key? That's going to go across the 100% to the width of 20 pixels. So you can always change that number later if you want to make it longer or shorter. Let's come back up with 100%. The background, I've got a predetermined color I have for my project here, which is D3531A. Save it. You won't see anything yet on the screen. We haven't created this icon. And I'll say border radius to give it a little end. So I'll say 1 pixel, just do a slight curve on the edge of it. And I'll say opacity is going to be 1. Left, we're going to default to 0 just to place in the right spot. The transform I want to do, you have to set this first. It's going to rotate by default at 0 degrees. It's going to rotate later on once we have it changed. And we'll have a quick transition of 0.25 s for seconds, and ease in, ease out, and the semicolon. Again, we just have, it looks like one line because they're all stacked on top of each other because of position absolute. If I take it out, they just disappear, but the absolute holds it in place. But of course we have 1, 2, and 3 on top of each other. We have to spread them apart, and that's the power of the flex. We've made a flex column and justify content around to help it space it out appropriately. So if we scroll down from toggler icon, what I want to do next is, I just want to set the default middle bar. I like to do easy math, so the middle bar almost becomes literally the middle bar. I can count up, or in this case, negative numbers for positioning, and positive numbers down for the third. So what I'll do is I have to set the middle bar as like a default setting. So middle bar, I'll say let's try margin top of 0 pixels. It just holds in the right spot for right now. After that, we want to then do almost a backwards design. So when this is actually working, what does it do? So let's make a note and say when navigation is clicked, what's going to happen to these lines? Almost going to build it backwards. What we're going to do is we'll say navbar toggler, and we'll say top bar. Here we go. Top, middle, and bottom. Top bar goes first. We're going to say margin top 0 pixels and transform. What we'll do is we're going to have it rotate to an angle of 135 degrees. So we'll say rotate. We'll say 135 DEG. Make it rotate. That's going to go down in the first part of the cross/X. After that, we'll do the middle bar. So we'll bring this back up. You have the top bar. Let's do navbar toggler, and we'll say middle bar. From there, we're going to say opacity of 0. Make it disappear, and we'll create a filter to help filter it out. So we'll say filter alpha, and then we'll say opacity equals 0 to help kind of fade a little bit in the transitionary effect. Again, nothing's going to happen quite yet, but if you see it, there's that line right there on the right-hand side that goes at an angle, which we're going to see at 135 degrees. So if we come down, you have the top, the middle, now we have the bottom bar, navbar toggler, and we'll say bottom bar. And this is going to rotate at an exact opposite direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to say margin top to bring it up to the top, and we'll say 0 pixels. And then we're going to say transform and rotate at negative 135. 135 DEG, we're going to find that negative key. Now what happens is, there it goes. Check it out. We have the X looking great. So we have the end first, and then we'll get the beginning done second. So what I'm going to do is come down here, and we'll make a note, and we'll say state when the nav bar is collapsed. What we also need to do is add, let's make a note of that before I mess it up. I'm going to also add the word collapse to this project because I want to actually see now we made the opposite when we click it, but the default state is not the cross. So what I have to do is I have to add the word collapsed into my HTML. So inside this button class, after the navbar togglers, we're going to put the word collapsed. What's going to happen is we're going to lose eventually this X. We create the word collapsed in our project. So in the custom CSS, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something new, but instead of using the word navbar toggler top bar, I'm going to say navbar toggler collapsed dot top bar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say navbar toggler dot collapsed, and then we'll say top bar. And in here, we're going to move the margin top to negative 20 pixels. It's going to move up, and the rotate will be back to the default of 0 degrees. So I'll say transform and rotate 0 DEG. That's going to do is move the bar back up to the top and keep it linear. We did the top bar, let's do the middle bar. Navbar toggler dot collapsed. Caught that, whoa, not all of that. Let's take out the word navbar toggler twice and just put a period in there. There we go, let's fix that. And we'll do middle bar. The middle bar will be opacity of 1. We want to bring it back. That's going to be set to the default, which we have up to the top, of 0 pixels. Margin top 0. It's like this is the 0. We go up negative 20 and down negative 20. So opacity 1 and filter, we're going to bring it back to existence. So we'll say alpha, and we'll say opacity equals 100. Perfect. We have the middle bar. Now if we save it, there it is. We got the top bar, the middle bar. Now let's bring that bottom bar back. So we'll say navbar toggler dot collapsed and bottom bar. Bottom bar is going to have a margin top. If we went up negative 20 to keep it consistent, I'm going to go negative or positive 20. Almost messed that math up already. And transform, we're going to say rotate 0 DEG. And now check it out. We have our nav bar matching our nav bar here in our design. Pretty cool.
So that's it, my presentation.
I'm going to focus on right now is this.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Yes, on this also, Sanduru and everybody, in the future when we have we don't need a detailed description. So what you have to summarize is this can be done, and here if you see he's hiding the middle bar from opacity and changing the degrees. So likewise you just have to explain what it is done. Then maybe uh, for when we are uploading our videos, we can give reference to the videos, as well as you yourself can create a GitHub open link and then share that. So that we can use it in the later formats. So there's no need for going into detail when we are doing the presentation, because we are not trying to learn anything here. No, we are trying to see the possibilities and keeping them recorded, so that in the future when we need it again, we can use it. Perhaps Kanchani may before any retrospect, you can just check what they are presenting.
Yeah,
Then
sure.
I think that will be, but that's okay. This is our learnings, no?
Yeah.
So, but again, now everybody should know that it's very easy the cross icon to be added to the mobile, and we can upload this and keep this as a knowledge base.
Yeah, sure, sir. So, next in agenda is about the how to set up Strapi on live environment. Noan, can you please kick off your presentation as well?
Okay, Panchari, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to present on setting up Strapi on live environment with PostgreSQL, Cloudinary, and Render. So first of all, let's see what is Strapi, why we use it, and when we use. So Strapi is an open source headless content management system, and it allows you to create, manage, and deliver content via APIs. And Strapi offers a highly customizable content management experience, so it's flexible. It's a headless environment because it separates the content from the presentation layer, making it suitable for various front-end technologies. And Strapi is free, community-driven, and constantly evolving. So it's extensible because user can extend Strapi's functionality through plugins. And Strapi provides RESTful and GraphQL APIs out of the box. And it's user-friendly. It has an intuitive and admin panel for content creators. So as described here, we use Strapi when we need to manage and deliver content for websites, mobile apps, or other digital platforms. And when we are working on projects where an API first approach is essential, likewise. So from next slide, this is a Strapi admin dashboard. You can get a basic idea about the dashboard on next slides. So, okay. Why we use Render, PostgreSQL, and Cloudinary here? We use Render as cloud hosting solution. It's free to manage 1 GB of storage for first 3 months after, so that you should pay, otherwise you will lose the whole data. And we use PostgreSQL here as database to store structured content. And actually, earlier Strapi supported with the document database like MongoDB, but as they say, supporting different connectors, SQL and MongoDB is slowing down their product development, so they contribute with their development with SQL. So we use Cloudinary
to store media files like images and videos uploaded through Strapi. So let's see what are the things we need to keep on our hands before start the work. We need a render account, PostgreSQL database credentials, local Strapi project, Cloudinary account, and new Git repo. So let's see the way of doing. Here I'm showing you a previously recorded video by myself of set up the Strapi on live environment, because some tasks get pretty decent time to proceed. That's why. So I'll play the video. So first we create the PostgreSQL database background using render. And then we're gonna create a local Strapi project using npm commands. I open a terminal, we run the npm command. So here we use custom installation type to go with Postgres database client, and provide the requested details such as database name, host, port, username, password likewise. Then we build the admin UI using npm develop command. npm develop command inside the my project file. So here we create a Strapi account by giving usernames and passwords. In here, we're gonna install the Cloudinary plugin to the marketplace. And go to its original document to set up the plugin. And then we open our local Strapi project, and we need to change some files like plugins.js. Here we create the plugins.js file. And we have to do some changes on .env file also. And we're gonna change middleware.js files with the related data. Then we sign into Cloudinary account. retrieve the Cloudinary API credentials like cloud name, API key, API secret, like us. Then we again use npm run develop and create content types in our backend as we wish. Here we create a content type called event name, starting date and end date. And we are going to add some media files also. And we are adding some sample contents using content manager. After adding all the sample data, we should save our changes and publish. The published data, we could see it on the Cloudinary media library. Then again, we go to the render account and create a new web service for the Strapi project. So in here, to build and deploy our Strapi environment, we use a Git repo. Next, we create a whole new Git repo and we're gonna push our local Strapi project to the newly created Git repo by using these commands. So after pushing our local Strapi project to our Git repo, we're gonna refresh, and then we go to the vendor again, and connect it with our Git repo by giving access. Here we assign a name. I'm going to add environment variable. We need to set the environment variables in render service configuration, like app keys and other stuffs. Then we deploy our builds. After that, we log into our cloud hosted Strapi backend using the same credentials used before. So from there, we can see the previous data that we already uploaded. Actually, the thing to remember is this is a production environment. We only can manage content here. So to create content types, we need to use development environment and push the builds to the Git repo to deploy. So after that, we're going to create an API token to Strapi admin panel. So after that, we can retrieve our uploaded data as we wish using related APIs. So that's all about set up the Strapi in live environment. Thank you.
Good presentation. Likewise, let's keep these details uploaded into YouTube continuously so that we can use. Otherwise, I have to train them all the time.
Yeah.
But we will also have like more detailed one also. I will do that and keep it so that whenever we need something to be trained, we can utilize. Otherwise, what I will be doing is all the time we are training the new guys every time. No?
Yeah.
We can use this content for reference purpose.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Noan. The next presentation is about how to generate an action in Sales.js. Lakshita, can you please start your presentation as well?
Oh, sure. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, please.
Good evening. I am going to demonstrate how to create a sales action. First, I create the sales action. Then I have prepared the sales action. Then first I copied this path to the routes.js. The reason is adding to the routes to this JS field specifies that HTTP GET request to the endpoint should be routed to the GET action of control in sales.js project. This is the reason I added to the route.js project. Next, policies. First, I entered my action to the policies JS. The reason is add to the policies is define policies for control actions is a set of rules and middleware that can be applied to control actions in this project is the reason to add the policies JS. Next, next move to my component.js. First I entered to the images in this component.
the reason this is a data binding. Uh, this data binding property can be accessed to the modified within can be uh, a template and methods in Vue.js provides two-way data binding. So any changes to images will automate update of the component view and changes in the uh, all components in images in the this binding command. Uh, Next one is v for loops. Uh, uh, First of all, I run this command. Next, I move on to the get images .ts, which I also previously created as an action. This is the action of what previously created. First, the change is the asynchronous function. Uh, This is the API, Strapi API key, which was previously anyone mentioned about, sorry, API, and this is the bear token, which was grab data from Strapi. This is that API token, API bear token, and next move to the image gallery component. Mm, uh, First, I enter to the assign function. And asynchronous, this is the main task of this asynchronous function, and asynchronous function is a type of function in JavaScript that operates asynchronously, allowing to the perform tasks without the blocking excursion of the other code. It is an fundamental feature is used to extensively in scenarios where operation may take some time to complete, such as making network requests, reading from files, and interaction with a database. That is the reason I entered to the synchronized function this size. Uh, uh, and this is the mountain. The mountain, this function is appears to part of component life cycles, and other servers load some same items asynchronously, and if the loading is successful, call another function related to the component. The extract behavior depend on the implementation in the load items that you can see in the screen. Load items, and this is the caller function of my carousel. Next, I entered to the this command images. And this is the await cloud function. The await cloud get the images with the line code calls the asynchronously function. Cloud get images with the await keywords indicates that program should wait for function to complete. Get some mic. that programs should wait for the function to complete before presenting next line. The purpose and behavior of cloud get images depends on the implementation and likely involved to making synchronized requests such as API call like that. Uh, this is the result. The result of the await expression. This you can show the result. Uh, Await expression stored in a result variable. This means that the code will pause and wait until cloud completes the result. A restart will be assumed to result. Uh, this images function, of cloud get images contains an object with an properly. These lines assign with value of uh, property and this update automatically. This is the main task of this function. Next, I lift my sales page. Okay, you can see the my page I was previously created, and this is the carousel I have built in this action. This is my presentation, and thank you for listening. Okay.
Okay, good for the first presentation. Now, I think Lakshita try to practice more and more. The most important thing, even in an interview, is let them know that you know. So it's not about whether you get stuck or not, like things like that. Why we are using await, why we are using asynchronous functions. Letting them know, that will show the whoever listening that this person knows something about it. So those are the things. Now, rather than just saying it's a view component, you have to tell, sales has view components, and these are access to the component section. Likewise, you have to give the big picture first, then do the next step. But overall, good. I think you are learning more and more now. So sales, you have to do more and more and get familiar. So actions, cloud actions, and basically the APIs are the most important in Node.js. Right, good, Lakshita.
Thank you, Lakshita.